Atlantic City, New Jersey. The 27th of June, 1988. Mike Tyson is standing in his dressing room at the convention hall, sweating through his black trunks before the fight has even started. His handlers are trying to calm him down. But Mike isn't nervous. Mike is furious. Michael Spinks' promoter just delayed the fight. Claimed there's a lump on Mike's left glove. Made them unwrap it. Made the commission inspect it. Made everyone wait while Mike stood there, exposed, disrespected, questioned. The lump was just knotted laces. Everyone knew it. But the delay worked. Got inside Mike's head, made him angry. Mike turns to his trainer, Kevin Rooney, the last person who really knew Cus D'Amato, the last connection to the man who built him. And Mike says 6 words that seal Michael Spinks' fate. "You know, I'm gonna hurt this guy." 91 seconds later, Michael Spinks is unconscious on the canvas, his head resting against the ropes, arms outstretched like a fallen statue. His perfect 31-0 record destroyed. His career over. 1 month later, he retires. Never fights again. First loss, last fight, both in 91 seconds. Mike Tyson walks away with $22 million. The biggest purse in boxing history. Does the math. That's $241,758 per second. But here's what nobody talks about. Here's what gets lost in the knockout highlight reels and the record-breaking payday. Those 91 seconds were the peak, the absolute zenith, the last moment when Mike Tyson was Cus D'Amato's Mike Tyson. Because 18 months later, everything Cus built was gone. The discipline, the focus, the team, the invincibility, all of it. Destroyed not by another fighter, by Mike himself, by the people he let in, by the choices he made when Cus wasn't there to stop him. The 27th of June, 1988. The Convention Hall, Atlantic City. 21,785 people packed into seats. 600,000 households watching on pay-per-view. The richest fight in boxing history. Billed as, once and for all, 2 undefeated champions. Mike Tyson, 34-0. Michael Spinks, 31-0. The first time 2 undefeated titleists had met since Ali vs. Frazier in 1971. Mike holds the WBC, WBA, and IBF titles. Every major sanctioning body. Undisputed champion. 21 years old. The youngest heavyweight champion in history. 30 knockouts in 34 fights. An aura of invincibility. When Mike walks to the ring, grown men are afraid. Michael Spinks is the lineal champion. Took the title from Larry Holmes in 1985. Beat Holmes again in the rematch. Defended successfully. Never lost. Olympic gold medalist. Former light heavyweight champion. Moved up to heavyweight and conquered. Smart fighter. Technical. Patient. His nickname is The Jinx, because he ruins plans, destroys expectations, makes the impossible happen. The fight was supposed to settle everything. Who's the real champion? Who's the best? Once and for all. The pre-fight drama is pure theater. Butch Lewis, Spinks' promoter, finds that supposed lump on Tyson's glove. Demands inspection. The New Jersey Athletic Commission examines it. Finds nothing. Just laces. Eddie Futch, Spinks' legendary 77-year-old trainer, agrees. No problem with the gloves. Lewis backs down. But the damage is done. Mike Tyson is pacing in his dressing room, sweat pouring, anger building. Not fear, never fear, just rage. Pure, focused, weaponized rage. The kind Cus taught him to harness, the kind that makes opponents quit before the first bell. The bell rings. Mike comes forward. Immediately. No feeling out, no testing distance, just pressure. Michael Spinks tries to establish his jab, tries to box, tries to move. But Mike is inside. Too fast, too close, too relentless. 50 seconds into the fight, Mike lands a left hook high on Spinks' head. Spinks is hurt. You can see it. His legs aren't right. His confidence is cracking. He tries to clinch, to tie Mike up, to survive. But survival isn't an option. Not against this Mike Tyson. 60 seconds. Mike lands a left uppercut, snaps Spinks's head back. Then, a short, twisting right hook catches him just below the heart. Perfect placement. Body shot. The kind that steals your breath and your will simultaneously. Michael Spinks drops to one knee. First knockdown of his professional career. 31 fights. Never been down. Now kneeling in front of Mike Tyson, trying to remember how to breathe. Referee Frank Cappuccino counts. Spinks rises at 4. Brave. Futile, but brave. Mike doesn't wait. Walks forward. Spinks tries a soft right hand, trying to keep distance. Keep Mike away. The punch is weak. Desperate. Mike responds with a devastating right hook. Flush on the jaw. Perfect. Michael Spinks crashes to the canvas, arms outstretched, head against the ropes. Motionless. Cappuccino counts to 10. Spinks doesn't move. Can't move. 91 seconds. 1 minute. 31 seconds. Fight over. Just 10 total punches landed in the entire fight. 8 by Tyson, 2 by Spinks. Ring Magazine names it Round of the Year, the shortest, most dominant title fight in recent memory. Mike Tyson is God, undisputed, unquestionable, the baddest man on the planet. 21 years old, 35-0, 31 knockouts, peak physical condition, perfect execution. Everything Cus promised, everything Cus built. $22 million richer. The biggest payday in boxing history. $241,000 per second. That moment, that night, that 91 seconds, that was it. The summit. As good as it gets. As perfect as Mike Tyson would ever be, because from the 27th of June 1988 forward, everything starts falling apart. 2 months later, August 1988, Mike gets into a street fight with Mitch Green, a former opponent. 4 in the morning. Harlem. Mike breaks his hand, hitting Green. The incident makes headlines. Shows Mike's discipline slipping. Shows Cus's structure eroding. September 1988. Mike and Robin Givens sit down with Barbara Walters. The interview that destroys what's left of Mike's image. Robin describes their marriage as torture, pure hell, worse than anything I could possibly imagine. Says Mike has a volatile temper. Says he's manic-depressive. Says she fears for her safety. All while Mike sits there, silent. Watching his private life become public spectacle. Watching his wife humiliate him on national television. Mike doesn't defend himself, doesn't argue, just sits there. The damage is done. The world sees him differently now, not as a warrior, as a troubled man, as an abuser, as someone out of control. October 1988. Robin Givens files for divorce, cites spousal abuse, gets a restraining order. The marriage lasted 8 months. 8 months of hell. 8 months that destroyed Mike's focus. That gave Don King access. That pushed away everyone Cus trusted. December 1988. Mike fires Kevin Rooney, the last link to Cus D'Amato, the last trainer who knew Cus's system. The last person in Mike's corner who prioritized Mike's development over Mike's paycheck. Gone. Fired via newspaper. No phone call. No conversation. Just a headline. Tyson fires Rooney. Mike claims Rooney talked about Robin on television, betrayed him. But everyone knows the truth. Don King wanted Rooney gone. Robin wanted Rooney gone. Because Rooney represented Cus. Represented discipline. Represented the old way. The way that worked. The way that made Mike great. Rooney gets replaced by Aaron Snowell and Jay Bright. Trainers Don King can control. Trainers who won't challenge Mike, won't demand discipline, won't enforce Cus's system. Teddy Atlas, Mike's former trainer, says it perfectly. Having Aaron Snowell and Jay Bright train Tyson was like wearing plastic thongs under an Armani suit. Those two guys couldn't train a fish to swim. But Mike doesn't care, or doesn't see it, or can't see it anymore, because Robin is gone, Cus is gone. Jimmy Jacobs, his co-manager, died in March 1988. Kevin Rooney is fired. Bill Caton is pushed out. Everyone who built Mike Tyson is gone. Replaced by Don King and people who tell Mike what he wants to hear. February 1989. Mike fights Frank Bruno, wins by technical knockout in the 5th round. Still looks dominant, still looks unstoppable. But people who know boxing see the cracks. Less head movement, less combination punching, more reliance on single power shots. The Cus D'Amato system eroding. July 1989. Mike fights Carl, the Truth, Williams. Destroys him in 93 seconds. 1st round knockout. Still undefeated. Still champion. But the lifestyle is catching up. The training is softer. The discipline is gone. The partying is constant. Don King is in control. And Don King doesn't care about Mike's legacy. Don King cares about money. The 11th of February 1990. Tokyo, Japan. Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas. 18 months and 15 days after the Michael Spinks fight. Mike is 37-0. Buster Douglas is 29-4-1. A 42-1 underdog. Mike gets $6 million. Douglas gets $1.3 million. Nobody gives Douglas a chance. HBO analysts Larry Merchant and Jim Lampley expect another 90-second annihilation. When a Japanese customs official asks how long the American press expects to be working in Japan, one reporter answers, "Oh, about 90 seconds. But this isn't the Mike Tyson who destroyed Michael Spinks. This is a different Mike, an unfocused Mike. A Mike who partied through training camp, who showed up overweight, who brought Don King's yes men instead of real trainers, who thought his name alone would win, who believed his own myth." Buster Douglas's mother died 23 days before the fight. Lula Pearl Douglas. Stroke. 46 years old. She told Buster he'd beat Tyson, made him promise, then died before seeing it. Douglas fights for her. Fights with purpose, with focus, with preparation Mike doesn't have anymore. The fight is competitive. Back and forth. Mike lands in the 8th round, knocks Douglas down, but Douglas gets up, recovers, comes back stronger. Round 10. Douglas lands an uppercut, then a hook. Mike goes down, first time in his career, tries to find his mouthpiece, looks lost, confused. The count reaches 10. Knockout. Mike Tyson is no longer undefeated, no longer invincible, no longer champion. 37-1. First loss. Biggest upset in boxing history. The mystique shattered. The aura gone. Larry Merchant speculates that with Kevin Rooney in the corner, Mike would have survived. Would have weathered the storm like he did against Tony Tucker in 1987 when Rooney guided him back. But Rooney is gone. Fired 18 months earlier. Replaced by trainers who couldn't help, wouldn't help, didn't know how. Mike himself would later say, "My career has been over since 1990. 15 years before he actually retires. He knows. The moment Douglas counts him out, Mike knows. Everything Cus built is gone. The discipline, the system, the invincibility, gone. And it all traces back to those 18 months. From June 1988 to February 1990. From the Michael Spinks knockout to the Buster Douglas knockout. From the peak to the collapse. From $22 million and 91 seconds of perfection to $6 million and 10 rounds of proof that Mike Tyson was just human after all. The 27th of June, 1988. Mike Tyson is standing over Michael Spinks's unconscious body. Undisputed champion. Undefeated. Unstoppable. The baddest man on the planet. Everything Cus promised. Everything Cus built. Peak perfection. 2 months later, street fight with Mitch Green. 4 months later, Barbara Walters interview. 6 months later, divorce. Kevin Rooney fired. Cus's system dismantled. Don King in control. 18 months later, face down in Tokyo. Beaten. Defeated. Mortal. 91 seconds of glory. 18 months of collapse. $241,000 per second earned. Everything Cus built lost. The math doesn't add up. Never does. Because here's what Michael Spinks represented. The last fight where Mike Tyson was still Cus D'Amato's Mike Tyson. The last time the system worked perfectly. The last time discipline overcame everything. The last 91 seconds before gravity took over. Every fight after Spinks, Mike was a little less Cus, a little more Don King, a little more Robin Givens, a little more the chaos Cus spent 5 years pulling him away from, a little more Brownsville, a little less Catskill, a little more street, a little less science. And by the time Buster Douglas knocked him out, Mike Tyson wasn't Cus's weapon anymore. He was just Mike. Talented, powerful, but undisciplined, unfocused, unprepared. Everything Cus feared, everything Cus fought against, everything Cus died believing he'd prevented. Cus died November 1985. Mike won the title November 1986. 1 year too late for Cus to see. Mike destroyed Spinks June 1988, 2.5 years after Cus died. Mike lost to Douglas February 1990, 4 years and 3 months after Cus died. 4 years. That's how long Cus's system lasted without Cus. 4 years from death to Douglas. 4 years before everything Cus built collapsed completely. Before Mike proved that talent without discipline is just wasted potential. That power without structure is just destruction. That being the baddest man on the planet doesn't mean anything if you can't be disciplined enough to stay there. Michael Spinks retired 1 month after fighting Mike. Never fought again. Walked away with his dignity, his legacy, everything except that one night, 31-1. Only lost to Mike Tyson at peak perfection. Not shameful, honorable, smart. Mike Tyson fought for 15 more years after Buster Douglas. Won some, lost more. Went to prison, bit Evander Holyfield's ear, became a cautionary tale, became a meme, became a punchline, became everything except what Cus D'Amato built him to be. The 27th of June 1988, 91 seconds, $22 million. The peak, the absolute summit, the last perfect moment before everything that could go wrong went wrong. That's the real story of Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks. Not the knockout. The countdown. The 18 months from perfection to collapse. From Cus's Mike to Don King's Mike. From the youngest champion in history to just another fighter who couldn't handle success. 91 seconds to build a legend. 18 months to destroy it. The math is simple. The lesson is brutal. And the cost was everything Cus died believing he'd saved Mike from. Some peaks last forever. Some last 91 seconds. And some, like Mike Tyson's, last just long enough for you to see how far the fall will be.